What is going on, guys? Marc Guberti here. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 blogging tips for beginners. So if you are looking to become a better blogger, if you are looking to make money with your blog, there are a few different tips that are going to cover both of those grounds. So if you guys do want to learn about growing your platform, make sure you subscribe for more videos just like this one. So the first blogging tip for everyone out there, we all hear about consistency and posting content consistently, but not just consistently posting content, but also to have a consistent production schedule. The reason a lot of people fall off with their consistency is because they are not consistently producing new content. So if you want to produce 3 new pieces of content each week, then pick a day where you're going to do 4 new pieces of content. So you can account for sick days and unexpected stuff. Or pick 2 days of the week where you're producing 2 pieces of content. And you could stretch this out a little more, but the main idea with this one is just have a consistent, like on Monday, I'm producing content, or it's going to be a Tuesday where I'm producing all of this content. If you have the consistent production schedule down, then you're most definitely going to have an easier time consistently cranking out new content and even upping your frequency, which is also good to do if you are a blogger who is starting out. The second blogging tip is to create a checklist that details all the different ways you will promote your blog post. There are so many different social networks, so many people you know who could benefit from the blog post. But the reason that blog posts aren't marketed well enough is because a lot of bloggers don't really think about that part. They create content, they publish it, they hope SEO will pick it up. But there's certainly a lot more to it. And you want to think about all of your different platforms so that you are able to promote your blog post in more ways. Now, if you are struggling with this one, you're not sure of all the different ways you can be promoting your blog post, you may want to pick up my social media marketing checklist, which contains a few different ways you could promote your blog post across a few of the social networks with the checklist customization, so you could check everything off as you go. That link will be in the description for anyone who is interested. The third blogging tip is that for all the blog posts you write, come up with at least 5 to 10 headlines before you choose your winner. As you create more headlines, you're going to be deeper into that creative flow. And it's within this creative flow where you can come up with a better headline. In the first headline, which is pretty much the title of your blog post, you'll come up with something that describes what your blog post is about, but there is a difference between describing what your blog post is about in the headline and really being captivating with it and really getting people to have that desire to click based on your headline. So on YouTube, we've got the title and we have the thumbnail, and that's what encourages people to click. And on Google, all you really have is the title of your blog post and just a little bit of the metadata, that short description that you get, but it's going to be the title that by far plays the largest role in how many clicks you're going to get from SEO, how many people are going to continue to read the blog post once they come across it. So make sure you come up with 5 to 10 different title ideas before settling on the best fit based on what that blog post is about. The fourth blogging tip is to create an opt-in page. Get people's email addresses right away. Have that free video series, have that free ebook, have the free checklist like what I do with the social media marketing checklist. It's important to have a way to turn your visitors into email subscribers because that's your most valuable asset. While Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, and others can change their algorithms at any time, you own that email audience. You are able to continuously engage with those people. And it's not like an algorithm can take away your ability to engage with that community versus any outside platform like a social network. And I made the unfortunate mistake of really not thinking about an opt-in until 150,000 visitors in, and that cost me thousands of email subscribers. And it is on the email list also where people make the majority of their money if they are in business or online marketers or anything of that nature. So make sure you prioritize building up the email list very early on. MailChimp is a great way to get started for free. I use and love ConvertKit and think that's also a really great option to get started. The next blogging tip is to have a monetization model right out of the gate, because if you don't have a way to monetize, it's not a business, it's a hobby. Businesses, by definition, they make you money, or they have the potential to make you money. Hobbies, by definition, are something you do on your free time and you don't really care about the money. And if you don't have a monetization model in place, it means you don't care enough about the money. So just have it in place right away. It could be you creating your own product, whether that's a book or a training course, or even something that you put up on Zazzle, such as merchandise. And it can also be you just offering coaching or some done-for-you service. Have your own offer in place already. If you don't want to do that stuff right away, you can do affiliate marketing also. Amazon has a great affiliate program where you don't get too much commission. It starts at 4%. It can build up. So it's relatively low, but you've got millions of different products to choose from. There are certainly other affiliate options available based on what your niche is. You can also use Google Adsense, which is more of a complementary. It's not going to be the thing that makes you a full-time income unless you've got hundreds of thousands of people visiting your blog every month, but it can be something that brings in some nice spare change for you barely doing anything extra to your site. All you got to really do is set up the ads, but have the monetization model in place and ideally diversify your income streams, because that's just going to help you from a financial freedom standpoint. The next blogging tip, this is our 6th so far, is to build relationships with other bloggers. One of the things I notice about anybody who becomes a successful blogger, successful YouTuber, successful podcasters, they never did it by themselves. They got into collaborations. They interviewed people. They did guest posts. They appear on other people's podcasts. No one does it by themselves. And if you are able to build these relationships and you make it a point to build multiple relationships each day, that is really going to accelerate your success as a blogger. One way to build relationships really quickly is to have people on your podcast or mention them in your blog posts. So I do have a resource that helps people launch their podcast in 5 days. That will also be linked in the description. It's a free resource. But with the blogging, if you just want to mention people in your articles, then make it a point to mention maybe 3 people per article, especially if you're going for a longer article. If it's shorter daily stuff, then maybe 1 person to mention is good. And you could do anything from just sharing a quote they did or linking to one of their blog posts in a way that's relevant. And then when this blog post gets published, reach out to all the people you mentioned and then say, hey, I mentioned you. Don't ask them to share it. Just say that you mentioned them and you love their content. You're really appreciative of what they do. Some of these people will ignore it. A bunch of these people will share it, especially if you target the micro influencers. So you're not targeting the Gary Vaynerchuk's, the Grant Cardones with this strategy. You are going for the person who maybe they get a few thousand monthly visitors, maybe they have a few thousand social media followers instead of people who have hundreds of thousands of social media followers, because those people get a lot more emails. They are a lot more busy and they get a lot more engagement. But if someone has just a few thousand followers, they are more likely to notice and see that you mentioned them in one of your recent blog posts, and then they're going to share it with their communities. And if you get 5 people like that sharing each of your blog posts, whether it's you mentioned them or you say, hey, I know you had a question for me about YouTube and I came out with this blog post that I thought you would enjoy. If you get at least 5 people to share your blog posts, that's going to have a really big compounded effect if you turn that into years. The 7th blogging tip is to take your blog posts and turn them into YouTube videos. There are a few different ways you could do this. You could just look at the blog post title, look at the tactics you cover, and just create a video that's very similar to it. You could also branch out. So take one tactic, expand it into a video, which you could then embed into that blog post. You can even, and this is a little bit more detailed, you can read the blog post word for word like a voiceover and then add a bunch of video clips in there. And that is a bit of a dynamic experience, but it's also very timely to assemble all of the necessary clips to create that dynamic experience. But at the very easiest, you could just look at the title, look at the tactics, create the very basic outline, and then just turn that into video format. And it's great to do video even if you're a blogger, because there are going to be people who they will only watch video content. They will not want to read blog posts. Like, you're watching this YouTube video, you probably a blogger, and you may have different ways of learning, but there are going to be some people who they will only learn through one platform. And if you're missing out on YouTube, or if you're missing out on blogging, or if you're missing out on podcasting, you're missing out on a big segment of your audience. And when it's just as easy as just looking at something you've already written, taking all the same tactics and just putting them into a YouTube video, it makes it a no-brainer to pursue this option. And this actually goes into the next blogging tip, which is to share the same blog post multiple times. So many bloggers make the mistake of promoting a blog post once. It came out, they're excited, they reach out to the micro influencers they mentioned, and then nothing else happens. So one of the things we have to get better at doing is taking a piece of content we publish and promoting it on the day that we publish it, the day after we publish it, the month after we publish it, a year after we publish it, and in between as often as we can. And it's going to be different for each platform you're on. On Twitter, I tweet at least once an hour, so it's certainly a lot easier to re-mention the same blog post multiple times. On platforms like Facebook, it's a little harder to create that same effect, but you can repurpose into a YouTube video like I was just describing. On Instagram, you can take the blog post, turn it into a carousel, or take one quote from the blog post and have that as a reason that people should go back to that blog post and read it. And that's going to allow you to multiply the reach of your blog post and help you be active on more platforms. And there's also another blogging tip that perfectly leads into what we were just talking about, which is to look at your stats to determine what your visitors are engaging with the most. So it certainly is a lot of work. If you write the blog post, you publish it, and then you say, I want to do an Instagram carousel. I want to take a few quotes and turn those into pictures. I want to make it a YouTube video. It's a lot of extra work, and that extra work will help you to grow your audience. But you want to pick the right blog post. So that means looking at your data. If you see a blog post that is rapidly accelerating, that is by far the most popular thing you've published, and that is the blog post you have to really double down on with the repurposing, with the promotion. Keep promoting that thing because it's going to get more traction in all these different algorithms, search engine algorithm, YouTube algorithm, Instagram algorithm, depending on the degree to which you repurpose it. And when you look at the data, it also helps you get a better understanding of what topics your audience likes the most. So not only will you see your most popular blog posts and you know to double down on those with the repurposing and the marketing, but you could also see, okay, maybe most of these top blog posts have to do with content marketing. And maybe the ones that aren't as good have to do with productivity or goal setting or something else. And you'll have the answer for you based on what your data tells you. But it is very important, whether it's WordPress stats, which are pretty basic, and I like to use those, versus Google Analytics, which goes a lot deeper into the data and helping you determine which of your blog posts are the top performers. It is important to frequently check back into your data to make sure your strategy reflects what your audience wants. And our final tip on this list is to do something for your blog every day. Whether you're writing new content, you're building new relationships, you are going back to tweaking an old blog post so it does better, do something for your blog every day. If you do something for it every day, it's going to build up that commitment. And it's the people who commit to something every day that truly see the results. So make sure for your blog, you are doing something for it every day. And one of the things you can keep on doing is learning, watching videos like this one. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure you subscribe for more like this one, and I will see you guys in the next video.